Did you know that there's certain things that you could do day by day that could have devastating consequences to the livestock of your Rainbowfish aquarium? Well, let's take a look at what those things could be. We are all going to be guilty, if we're honest with ourselves, with 2 to 3 of the points that I cover in this video today. And the first one we'll cover is doing your homework. And what I mean by that is doing the research into the fish that you are introducing into your aquarium. Be it a brand new aquarium, which you should have already done the research for anyway if you're going for a specific fish, or you've just gone to the fish store, you see a fish and you want to introduce it to your existing community tank. It's always good just to do the research first, make sure the conditions are right, and then the transition should be nice and peaceful, and hopefully your fish will come out the other end of that transition. If you share your house with either your husband, your wife, children, or just housemates, then it's always good to set some rules into place regarding your aquarium, rules that we will cover throughout the video. But it's not just the research into the fish and making sure that other housemates follow the rules. You also have to take into consideration other pets, which brings me to my second point of the video. If you've got a cat, then you need to kind of look at getting an aquarium that has a lid on it, or having lids made for your aquarium. Out of the 4 aquariums I have, 3 didn't have tops. I do have a cat. My cat has never interfered with my aquariums, and I put lids, I had glass lids made, and I've never looked back. But they weren't made because of the cat, they were made because of water loss and obviously trying to keep black mold down in the property. But what you don't want is to have your aquarium there as a go-to sushi shop for your fish. When you're out, who's to say if your fish isn't there helping himself to a little bit of dinner? The wrong tank mates can also have a devastating effect on the aquarium and the aquatic life that you have in there. You want to make sure, if you're adding tank mates, that they will get on with the existing fish in your aquarium. You do not want to have any forms of aggression. You don't want aggression. Aggression will just cause stress, and obviously in time will cause disease in your aquarium, which can lead to death. You only really want to be adding fish that are going to have a positive impact on the aquarium and the existing fish that are in there. Which then brings me to my next thing, which we're probably all guilty of: overstocking. It's dead easy, isn't it, to go into your local fish store, you see a fish and you think, not really got any room for it, but you get it anyway because you like it and you introduce it, and before you know it, your tank's massively overstocked. You're going to be getting ammonia spikes, which will have a devastating effect on all your fish, not just the ones that you've just added. So overstocking is something I think we're all probably guilty of over time, and it's something we really do need to take into account. The next thing, what I would say 99.9% of us have been guilty of in the past, is overfeeding. Now, overfeeding can obviously have a massive effect on your aquatic livestock and the aquarium parameters. This is where a rule that I was going on about before needs to be put into place. If you share a house with somebody, then people need to realise only one person feeds them fish. And what I'm saying is, how many times people walk past your aquarium, and if the food's there on the side, and they'll go, oh, I'll just put a little bit of food in there, put the food in there. You're out working, school, gone to the pub, whatever. You don't know that that's happened. You come back, you feed. Someone else comes along, puts a little bit of food in. Before you know it, your fish are being fed 5, 6 times a day. So it's always good just to have that rule in place that one person feeds the fish, and it just will hopefully reduce any kind of overfeeding. Overfeeding can have a devastating effect on your fish, and over time you're going to start seeing signs of disease, which then leads us to the next thing I think at least 50% of us will be guilty of, and that is over-medicating. Now, I think this is something that's done so easily for a few different reasons, really. So one, you read the instructions, you can just misinterpret those instructions and over-medicate. You can do it just because your maths isn't that great that day, your head's not screwed on properly, you can over-medicate. Or human nature. How many times when you've had a cold or you've got a headache or something like that, how many times do you go and get your painkillers and it says 2 every 4 hours, but you just think, well, I'll take 3 today. So you take an extra one just to give it that kickstart. I'm guilty of it, and I'm sure in the past at least half of you have done this. So when you're medicating your tank, you get your specific medication, you read the dosage, it may say for every 50 litres of water in the aquarium, put 1 ml of treatment. So you've got a 250 litre aquarium, so that's 5 ml of treatment. So you put 5 ml of treatment in. How many times have you gone, just the extra squirt for good luck, or 1 for the pot, as it used to be known? How many times do you do that? We all probably do it, but when you think about it, you put an extra pipette in or an extra couple of pipettes worth of medication in there. If it needed that extra that you think it does, don't you think the manufacturer would tell you to put 7 pipettes worth in instead? Because at the end of the day, they want you to use more medication because they will sell you more medication. So I do think it's something we're all guilty of, over-medicating, but it's also something that could devastate your aquarium. Throughout our daily routines now, you can be picking things up, grime will get ground into your fingers. Since COVID, a lot of us are using more things like hand sanitizer and things like that. So how many times when you walk past your aquarium and you see a leaf floating around that you just put your fingers in and you take it out and throw it in the bin without washing your hands first? The amount of contaminants that can enter your aquarium just through unwashed hands is incredible. It's always good practice to give your hands a real good wash, but also just give them a real good rinse afterwards as well, because what you don't want is to put the soap that you've just washed your hands into your aquarium. It's just good practice. Try not to put your hands in the aquarium without washing them first. The next things that can have a devastating effect on your aquarium are air fresheners, scented candles, things like that. People burn scented candles and that lovely aroma comes through the air. You have an air pump running, your air pump's pumping that air into your aquarium, contaminating the water. You walk in, you spray an air freshener, the air freshener fills the air with beautiful scent, but what it also does is settle. When you spray, the spray particles settle, and them spray particles can get into your aquarium water and contaminate your aquarium. So if you're one for burning candles and having air fresheners, the plug-ins, the spray ones, I'd advise not to if you've got an aquarium in your property. The next thing that can have a devastating impact on your life, aquarium, is children. Now, this is where other rules need to be set into place. If you've got young children, they need to know a few rules here now. 1, don't tap on the glass. You see it in stores. Please do not tap on the glass. This is for a reason. When you've lifted the lid on your aquarium, or you've done something and you've just tapped your aquarium, have you seen how your fish jump? People tap on the glass. Can you imagine what that'd be like if you was in there, if that was your thing, if that was your home and someone banging on the walls? It's not good. It will lead to stress of your fish. It will lead to illness. Also, regarding children, just make sure that they're fully aware that the toy cars and the Barbies aren't to be put into the aquarium. I am luckily never been gifted with children, but I'm pretty sure a few of you out there will have children. And how many times have you come home and there's been a toy car at the bottom of your tank? It's not great putting things like that into your aquarium. The contaminants that can come off there can have a devastating effect to your livestock. The next innocent mistake we can all make is when we go on holiday. Feeding your aquarium while you're on holiday can be done by the holiday box. It can be done by auto feeder. Water changes, you'd be better off doing a large water change the day before you go on holiday. And you go away for 7 days or for 14 days and you've got something in place there, auto feeders feeding, you're going to be thinking it's okay to do the water changes because you're going to be back in 7 days. So when you come back, you can do the water changes. Your auto feeders set up to have enough food in it for the next 7 days or whatever on holiday. But what happens if you get stranded on holiday, which seems dramatic, but over the past few years, it's been volcanoes in Iceland that have brought the entirety of Europe to a standstill. People have then been delayed on holiday for 4 more days. If that happens to you, what contingency plans have you got in place for that happening? Do you have a friend that can come round and feed your fish once a day? Obviously knowing not to overfeed. Would that friend be capable of coming into your property and doing a small water change for you? Always things that you need to kind of look at and hopefully can put into place just in case the worst happens. Quite a number of rainbow fish in the wild are now classed as an endangered species, so we have to do everything we possibly can to look after them and conserve the species. If you want to know any more interesting facts about rainbow fish, then I suggest you watch this video next.